Martine Moriarty is a painter who uses glass as her canvas. Originally from England, she now lives and works at Ballyferriter on the west of the peninsula.
I came over on holiday with a friend and we just toured around Ireland. Didn't know where we were going, just sort of having a good time. And when I came round the corner and saw Dingle Bay, and I just felt like I was coming home. It was just an unbelievable feeling, and I'd never had that feeling before. I've been all over the world and came to Dingle and it was just like, this is where I have to be.
What is it about this area that seems to attract a lot of craftspeople from England?
It's very inspirational. I mean, it's a very, very beautiful place to be. It's a little bit unreal. You know, it's not like the real world. We've kind of come onto the peninsula and shut a door to the real world, and we've all escaped it.
So where did the idea for the glasswork come from?
One of my tutors at college said to me that my paintings were very similar to stained glass, because I used to quite often put a black line around to depict each area, and the colours were very bright as well. And he kind of gave me the idea that maybe I should try working on glass, but I wasn't allowed to do glasswork at college because I was a fine artist, so I used to do it at home. Slowly over the years I did more and more and started a business when I left college.
Are you inspired by the local flora and fauna in this area?
Yeah, oh, it is my favourite subject. I love animals and I love just being in the countryside, and when I'm out, you know, walking, I'm constantly seeing pictures and, you know, things I could paint. Fuchsias grow wild around here, and I'm constantly asked to do fuchsias, whether it's doors, windows, screens, you know, little sun catchers. Everybody seems to love the fuchsia. Martine, there's one particular painting in your studio, and it seems to combine both your styles. Yeah, that's the type of painting I'd do if I was allowed to paint how I'd like all the time, because I often do commission work, and you have to paint quite detailed and tightly, and sometimes I just need to escape and do a painting for myself, and that would be the type of thing I do.
Take me through the process of making a piece of glasswork.
Often the customer would come and say they'd like a window or a door or a fire screen or whatever piece of glasswork they need. So I would always do it onto paper first to get that design right. That's a very important part of it. Once they're happy with that, I draw it up onto a big sheet of paper, the same size as the thing I'm going to make, and that would be used as a template. Then I would draw on all the black leading. It's a little bit like icing a cake. It comes out wet, and then it sets later on, you know, as the air gets to it. And then later on I come along and do the colour. What are the colours made from? They're a spirit-based paint, especially for glass. They're made in France, I believe, and I sometimes have trouble getting them. I have to, you know, send away for them. But yeah, they're just proper glass paint.
And can you blend the colours on the glass itself?
You can, yes. Actually, while they're still wet, obviously, you can get a sort of marbling effect. You know, if you needed to get on a leaf, say the shading, you know, where the sun's hitting it, so you can use them quite well.
Do you sell widely in Ireland? Yeah,
I do. I get a lot of Irish customers. I do a lot of work for hotels and guest houses and bed and breakfasts and shops, and I would work with interior designers and architects. And then, on the other hand, a lot of my work goes abroad as well. We're often shipping stuff out to America, France, Germany, England.
Earlier, I promised George an Irish country road, and I think I've found another fine example here, with a quaint Irish house thrown in for good measure. George, I've taken you all the way from Nashville to the gateway to the Dingle Peninsula. And I've picked this scene for one reason only, because I don't think you'll have seen anything like that before.
It's completely new to me, and it's so Irish looking, you know. And the colours are interesting. Whoever built it obviously has an eye for colour and variety. Yeah. I guess I'm a typical American tourist today, because that to me conjures up all sorts of warm thoughts of the Emerald Isle, and of course the Quiet Man and John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara and all that.
Well, here, George, all you have to do is transfer that.
Oh boy.
onto the paper itself. Now I'm going to help you with this, but
I hope so.
And then we can get some of that colour down. So if you just start there with that far end wall of the house. That's the sketch finished, George, and you're going to make a great job with this, I know you are. First of all, I want you to wet some of this watercolour paper just in that area. But we're going to be putting some colour on here in a moment. But this is just to keep some areas of the paint wet while we're working on other areas. So there you go. Just
sort of dampening it down a little bit, right?
That's right. And keep the damp area towards the centre of the... That's it. And cutting neatly around the actual roof of the house itself. Anywhere that there's a wet piece of paper, the wash will run to.
Yeah.
It'll run into the damp area. If you keep the paper dry on the roof, the wash will stay away from there.
So I should try to get as close as I can to the chimney and the roof without actually getting on it.
Right. Now, let me just load that brush again.
All right.
This is a mixture of cerulean blue and a little bit of crimson. And that's to give some warmth in the sky. Now, you see what I'm doing there? Look. Big sweeps up and around to give the feeling of clouds. Now, let me get you some blue.
Okay.
We may not have it here today, but sure, we'll put it in anyway. We'll make the sky blue. Now, you see that? Like,
yeah.
Now, if you come across the top, first of all, to get that line, and then work this blue around that chimney pot, look. But if you come over the chimney, then we can't get that white back again. So I'll leave that to you.
Okay.
Coming across, that's it.
Okay to come along here, closer?
As long as you cut nice and tight. We've moved on quite a bit now, George, and put in some of this foliage behind the house. Can you see how the darkness of the foliage against the buildings gives form and structure to the buildings themselves?
Absolutely.
If we didn't have those dark trees behind the house, it's difficult to tell where the house stops and the sky starts. Happy enough so far?
I sure am, yeah. I'm learning.
That's good. The next thing we have to do now is try and get this colour of the house itself. It's a strange colour now, I must say.
It almost looks like a gingerbread house to me, or sort of a cake or something.
Yeah,
you know.
But it's got that feel about it, okay, you know.
Yeah.
But it's very, very pretty to look at. Now, I'm going to try mixing that with Windsor yellow, some light red, and a bit of crimson. Now, if we just use the yellow to tone that down slightly, we should have that colour. Let me see if this is close to it. That's not too bad.
That's amazing, yeah.
Well, you see, the colour mixing, George, is years of practice. But as long as you know to limit the colours that you have and try and make the best out of them, and that's only going to come through practice. So what I want you to do now is take the number 8 brush and put that colour on over all of the house, but cutting around the windows. Can you see that we have a white reveal between the wall and the window frame itself?
Yes.
It's very important that we retain that white. So if I give you that brush, you can start cutting around that. Now we're going to do another jump. We're going to jump from here to the road. And we'll forget about this bit in between in the meantime. And the road is not going to be dissimilar in colour to the colour of the house to begin with. But then we're going to feed a few texture colours into it.
Grainy grey?
Well, probably a little bit of bluey grey or something like that. So we're starting with raw sienna and water. You see, it's very close to the colour of the house.
That seems strange to me, to get from that to grey and blue or whatever.
Exactly. But as you look across the surface of the road, there is a lot of warmth there with the light on the surface of the road. So the only way to give that warmth is to use the raw sienna colour. So I'm going to let you pull that in. From the background, we must work towards ourselves, where we're standing. Now,
All right.
Those are the lines of that beautiful shadow that's there. Pull it back that way.
And do I have to be careful about not getting into the sidewalk there, or the lower end of the wall?
You see the next stroke? If you take it from here and pull right down the middle. And then the next one from there and down the right-hand side. At least the brush stroke is going in the direction of the road. Now, that looks very, very flat at the moment. But we have to put some of that texture on. And I'm going to use a mixture of French ultramarine and a little bit of crimson. I know that might come up as a bluey purple, but at the same time, once it mixes with the colour that's already there, it'll turn greyish. Now, it'll be a bit drastic looking at the start.
Wow.
You see? Now, we must dry off that brush and start blending. By blending, do that there and brush one colour into the other. You see the way it disappears?